In the last few years, we've seen a real explosion in the number of filter types available in synths, and it's not uncommon now to see 10, 20 different types in a synthesizer. And because of the rich harmonic texture of a pad sound, this is a great area for you to explore in your synths. So let's have a listen. We've got our basic pad recipe here. I've made a few tweaks, but it's nothing you haven't heard before. Here we go. And again, we're running with these longer chords. So what I'm going to do with this is flick us onto a different filter type, and we're going to go for something a bit more far out, which is a formant filter. Now, a word of warning on this: when you're going to start messing around with filter types like this, it's a good idea to bring the volume right down to get a feel for it. Particularly the formant filters can really kick out a lot of sound, really high peak values. So let's have a listen to this now. In fact, what we'll do is bring up the spectrum. So you can hear that envelope in action. I think we're going to get rid of the envelope though, and instead we'll start having a mess around with the LFOs in a second. But first, let's just sweep the frequency around to get a feel for this. So you can hear some really nice sounds, and this is going to respond really well to movement via something like an LFO. So I'm going to bring this down quite low so we can get really nice full range of sweep on this. Turn the LFO on, and we'll go for something nice, slow and gentle, just the way I was sweeping that then. I'm going to go for 4 bars. So really slow, sweeping up and down. And then we just need to make sure that we turn up the LFO and our filter section. So you can see this is linked to the frequency. So that's this knob here. So again, it's like just having your hand on it, turning it up and down. Now, we noticed that when it was sweeping up and down our envelope filter, it started to get a little bit uncomfortable sounding when it started to reach the peak. So we're going to go for a really low values on this. I don't think we really want this screaming at us in those high frequencies. So let's have a listen to this. So we're already starting to get a really nice sound out of that. And of course, once you get this set up, you can play with your LFO amount, depth, sorry, I should say, amount, depth, the rate, the frequency, of course, and the resonance. They all play an important part in this. So when we look inside the filter section, there's something else that we haven't really messed around with as well. And that's down here, the drive. So this is really just applying a sort of distortion or saturation to the sound, and most filters have some kind of drive in there where you can really push the signal hard into the filter. So let's have a listen to this, see how this sounds. So I quite like that symmetry too. It's not got so much of the high-end sheen. Although, you know, of course, that would be perfectly fine if you wanted a much brighter sound. But this sounds really nice to me, and you can hear as the filter's sweeping up and down, it's hitting certain frequencies, and that drive is causing the distortion to become even more. So if you just have a listen, you'll hear there are sort of peak moments where we're getting a bit more drive in there. I'm going to tweak the resonance as well because we haven't played with this yet. Let's see how that's going to affect this sound. So I actually really liked where we had that resonance set already. I think that was sounding nice. And don't forget, of course, we've got resonance modulation in here. So you could have this linked to the envelope instead of the frequency. Or you could have an LFO linked to this to add even more movement. But what we do have is certain moments where it kind of peaks in volume and in distortion. You get those harsh little moments in there. And when you get quite sharp sounds, one thing that works really nicely is to add a delay to it. So we're going to throw a ping pong on this, because what we're going to get is when you get that short, sharp bit of distortion, that is going to then start delaying out with a ping pong to give us even more movement and even more of a sense of space. So let's back off on these parameters a little bit. Let's give this a go. In fact, I'll just open that up. Let's make sure we get the full range. And you can see we've got our compressor working at the end to catch anything that starts getting a little bit out of hand. And straight away, that sound, I'm really happy with that. I think that's a really, really nice sound. Definitely something that I would use in a track. So again, all we've done is got our basic pad recipe, decided on an area of the synth that we're going to play around with and explore, found some parameters. There's 4 or 5 here to use, and we've just tweaked them about to get something that we like. So again, it's just that logical progression of thinking your way through the sound design, and we've ended up with a really nice evolving texture.